Hey everybody, I'm Will, here today to walk you through some of the prepping data challenges. So these are weekly data challenges around data preparation. They're typically designed for Tableau Prep, but you can use them with a number of other tools or complete them with a number of other tools, which I'm going to show you today. So today we're going to walk through a solution for this challenge for 2023, week 1, using Python, using R, and using SQL. Let's get into it. So each challenge comes with a brief introduction about the work, again, reiterating that yes, you can do these challenges and have tools, and they're happy for you to do so. So how it works is you have a data set here to download, so in this case one CSV file, which we can have a look at. So this just links us to a Google Drive, and here's the data we'll be working with. Okay, and then we have a list of requirements of what we've got to do with this data. So this really helps practice some of these functionality that we have when it comes to coding, when it comes to using different tools. So that's what I'm going to practice today. It has been a little while, so won't be 100% clued up on all the answers, but we're going to work through this together. So we've got these different requirements to do, and then we're asked to output the data into 3 different outputs today. Okay, cool. And that is that. So these are beginner-friendly challenges because it's January, so that's why we can try and do all 3 in one stream. So let's give it a go. So I've already downloaded the data. I have made a folder here called Prepping Data. I've done these challenges in previous years, so I've got a folder for 2023. I made individual folders for my different scripts, and in unprepped data I have that data set there. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with Python, then we're going to do R and then SQL. As always, to help me along the way, I'm not going to do this purely from memory because that might take quite a long time. We do have Stack Overflow. I highly recommend using Stack Overflow for different problems you have when coding. Always just like, oh, I don't know how to do this. How do I do this in Python? And it'll usually get you to a good answer quite quickly. Or even you may know how to do something, but you may not have the most optimal way to doing it. So I find Stack Overflow super helpful for that. And then lastly, we're going to try a little bit of this potentially. So ChatGPT, I've seen that you can do it for like coding solutions. So I'm going to have a look, see how useful this is as like a little co-pilot for me when I'm doing my coding. Okay, so we've got our challenge here. I'm going to open up VS Code. So in VS Code, this is where I'm going to be doing Python. I find this IDE, as it's called, really useful for Python. You can get different extensions to plug in as well. I've gone and got Python from the Microsoft Store. I've downloaded the Python extension for this as well, so hopefully this should be plain sailing. I've gone and in VS Code, I've gone and opened my prepping data folder over here on the left, and then that's taken. I'm now into 2023 into my folder for Python scripts, and I found that this script I've made. So I've gone and just made a new file, made it a Python file there. I'm just gonna clarify that this still works. So you press this little play button, you can press play. You can see that it's really helpful. Like it will go and find your local install of Python, then run it against that script, and you can see here that yes, we printed hello world, and then we'll return to that terminal view of the directory we are working in. Okay, so that's all good. What I'm going to do, the first thing I always do with these challenges is I'm going to go and take this and I'm just going to go and copy it into the script just so I have it there, so I don't need to keep switching back and forth between the two. So I'm going to copy that, press this in here, so, and then I'm going to use hashes, and this will comment out those different lines. So now I can read them, but it's not going to be executed as a piece of code. You know what I mean? If I run this, I'm running into several errors because Python thinks rename is like a function or something, doesn't know what it's meant to be. And in this case, so I comment these out. And also these are quite helpful in terms of if I ever come back to this code, I can understand what what a line of code is doing. So just comment those out. Okay, just space this out a little bit. So try and leave like there's no harm in having comments, having like extra space. You know, we always try and talk about having like very short bits of code, but if you can't understand what it's doing, it's not very helpful. So, and not very reusable. So, definitely adding in comments helps. Okay, 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 cool. I'm gonna save that so that works. So for Python, there are two what they call packages that are super helpful in terms of doing data prep that I'm always going to use for this. One is pandas, the others is NumPy. So we can bring. So if you haven't had these installed, you would do the typical like pip install pandas, and it that would go away and go and execute that code and bring in that package for you. We can then use that package in Python. We go import pandas. You can see VS Code is helping me, and I'm going to give this an alias as PD port numpy as NP. Okay, and the reason we do this, so you give this as alias. So every time you want to pick a function from like the pandas library, which is a vast library of different functions to help you do this kind of work, you will need to write pandas normally. But if you call it as PD, you only have to write PD. So it makes it much faster to easier to understand. And if we start diving into solutions on Stack Overflow, you'll see that this abbreviation is quite commonly used. So you'll see it comes up time and time again. Okay, I'm going to remove my print hello world here. I'm going to change it to the bottom. So I'm going to go down here at the bottom, change this to data prepped. That way, this is like my nice way of knowing that the script has run all the way through to the end. I'm also going to add in some Preppin Data 2023 week 1. Cool. Okay, import the data. So what I need to do is I'm going to be using a function called pd read CSV. You can see it come up here. And I'm going to need to find that file path. So I know it's, so how this works is you need to reference it based on where your script is going to be executed from. So at the moment, my script is going to be executed from that main folder prepping data. So my script is going to execute from here. So when I look to find my CSV file, I need to give it the folder path to get there as well. So going to 2023 and then unprep data and then this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this for a starter, go that, and then go slash and then give it the file. Oh, give it the file name. Copy, paste .csv. Okay. Now also because Python coding language is a bit funny sometimes about backslashes, I'm going to double backslash these. This just generally helps it work. So I've got my data. The thing is, I need to assign it to something so I can reuse it later. Otherwise, it'll go and read this CSV file and then move on to the next line. What I need to do is assign it to what's called a data frame. So I'm just going to commonly use this. It's called df, and then we can go and print df just to make sure that's come through properly. Just going to give this a run. Hey, okay. Okay, so that's come through. So my script has run. You can see this data frame, basically this table has come back with this data, different transaction dates that look like they're coming through as text. And then we've got data prepped as well. So there are some extra things we can do just to understand our data a little bit better. So there are some DF info and print. Like if you press dot, usually I think you get one, describe, and then call that a function. And then there's also one, I believe, about just showing what the data types are. I think it's just types. Types. Okay, give that. So I can also, instead of pressing play in the top right, I can just press up up on the when I'm in the terminal section. That would just bring me to the last script. Press enter. Doesn't like this. Okay, series type is not callable. Okay, let's get rid of the brackets. Okay, that's working now. So so we had our print, so we can have a look at the data before. Then we have these different entries as well, which tell me a little bit about the data. So tell me about the different columns, whether they're null, how many counts of non-null versus nulls we have, different objects, what data types they are. So some of these are coming through as strings, but they're being called objects, and these are coming through as numerical values. It's saying gives you a bit of memory. Yeah, and I think D types is just a similar view, just shorter. Okay, so we know a little bit about this data. First thing they will want us to do in this is to go and take this transaction code and extract the letters at the start of the code. So this DTB and DS. I did. Okay. So what I will want to do is I will want to isolate this column. So if I go put the square brackets and then go transaction code, that's me just picking that column in Python, which is good. Okay, so now I need to apply some sort of functionality to this. It's a common, like you'll find doing these different coding languages on different things that they're kind of called similar things. So I could either find where that dash is in my string and then do some text to say only pick the first three or the first two letters of this string, or I could try and split the string itself into multiple columns. So I'm going to go with splitting the string in this case, but only taking the first part. I don't want the other four columns. So string dot split, and then so using what's called the delimiter, which is going to be that dash, and then I think there's one expand which I want false. False. That's what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this to a new column in my data frame. So if I call this I'll rename the new field the code bank. So if I call it bank there, and then if I go and move my print down one stage, I can see if that's worked. Okay. Okay, no, it hasn't. Okay, so what it's done is going to create a little list of all the expansions. Okay, cool. Go true. Go true. See if that changes it. Okay, yeah. Cannot set data frame multiple columns to a single column bank. Okay. So I could either do 4, but I don't really want to. Can I do substring do or a subset and do one. Is that gonna work? Hey, okay, okay. Now one of the things that's different between Python and R is how they count. So Python counts from zero, as you can see here. It's starting row zero. R generally starts from one. I think that's how it works. So this has worked in one sense. So it's brought me back this one, this middle value. I don't want that. So we're going to go for zero instead. And we'll give that a run. See how that goes. Hey, okay. So we got our bank come through. It's good. So we can move this line up as well. Okay, but there. Okay. So what we're going to do? Okay, rename the values of online and person field, which is this one. Online and one of in person. Online of one values. Okay, so when it's one, it's online. When it's in person, it's something else. So what I want to do, just to double check, there's nothing else in this column. I need to do online in person. Person with a dash. Go drop duplicates. So what this does is this is a function that will just get me the unique values from that column. I just want to check that there's only just one or two in there. Okay. Okay, cool. So this is, yeah, you can see this is return those just two. So, okay, cool. So what I will want to do is call this, I'm going to give this name a column and call this, is it renamed to something else? Let's check later in the actual example. Does it get named something else? Value. Oh, okay, so it stays the same. Okay. Okay. So if I call this line or some two, I'm going to call it two for now, just so I can double check that the actual transformation has worked correctly. And I'm going to use what's called np where, which is effectively going to do an if else. Remember correctly, np where bracket. So we have a condition to start with. So it's where this column, so equals. So you need two equal sign for equals, because as you see here, single equals means you're assigning a variable. Double equals means you want to know if that value is the same. This is coming back as one or two, so I don't need string. If that is one, then call it online. Else call it Q. I'm just going to go and that, print my data frame. Okay. Yeah, we can see that's working as expected. Okay, so I'm going to remove that. Two, save that. Oh, I always fear this kind of question because this inevitably always comes up as like the bane of any analyst's existence is changing date types from strings to dates. Change the dates to be day of the week. Okay, so I need to change this to a date format to start with because then I can lean into some of the functionality Python has to use date times effectively to work out this day of the week. What I'm going to do is df transaction date date 2 equals I think think it's PD to date time to pickle. Okay, but we're doing to date time and transaction date. Okay, save that. Give it play. Okay, so yeah, that looks like it's working right. So yeah, so it's getting rid of the timestamp at the end and it's converting days to days and months and years. Nice. Key. So I need to now change it to day of the week. I'm going to change this to that. Change that to transaction date. So call this transaction day equals. So I think there's a function you can do. Is it date time? Denominator date time. Day of week. I think it's day name. Okay, let's give that a go. Oh, nice. Okay, so that's come back with the names of those different days. Day of the week. Okay. Okay. Okay, so it's not transaction day, it's called day of the week. So I'm going to rename that. Okay, so I think we're there. So different levels of detail required in the output. You will need to sum up the values of the transactions in 3 ways. Okay, so I've got to sum up these values. Total values of transactions by each bank. So that one. Yeah. Total values by bank, day of the week, and okay, so that's type of transaction. I can rename that later. Um, Actually, they don't. I don't think they have that in the output. And then total values by bank and customer code. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is split this into 3 different data frames to do each of these different outputs. So I'm going to do output 1 equals df, and I'm going to call, so to get output 1, what is, no, I can do it in one line. So output 1 is going to be data frame, and then we want to get group by, and I believe you list your values. So you wanted to do by bank, and access type. I think it's like mapping a series of columns. Gets this as index. I always remember index, like it's always. We'll leave it out for now and see what happens. I want to group it by bank, and I want to sum this column. So sum. Okay. Oh, it's value. Okay, so I found an error. So column not found values. So this just need to fix that because it's meant to be value. Give it another go. Okay, okay. So that's worked. except I want that column name. Print start. I think it's dot. I thought it was one dot columns. You could just put. Let's try this. I remember like usually doing it. False. See if that changes anything. Okay, so in R you can just type false as F. So okay, I've got to type it out as false. Okay. Okay, so because of that index, that was causing that to be grouped just by that column and not giving me that value as well. Okay, okay. That's fine. Okay, so I've got that to work. That's the main thing here. Got it to work. And do I need to rename? Okay, so bank and value. So that's the first one done. Nice. So I'm gonna take the same thing. I think it's gonna be similar. So print output 2. Group by bank day of the week. So because I'm doing a list, I need those square brackets. Day of the week. Online or in person. Cool. Print output 2. Nice. I think that works. 2 values by bank transaction. Let's have a look. Okay, they've called it transaction date, so I'll change that back. And okay, and I've done it a different way around. But that's fine, I can change that. Okay. Okay, so this is being called transaction date. Transaction date there. Transaction date here. Okay, that looks like it. Yeah. Okay, and last one is move these comments down. So total values by bank and customer code. So I can take this one. I can just print that, print free, bank and customer code. Free. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, that works, and that works. Okay, I'm just going to check I've got all of them coming out correctly. I'm going to output this. Okay, so that's the last one that goes up to 30, well, from 0 to 32, so it's 33. Yeah, 33, including date. Yeah, it works. Okay, this goes to 41 from 0, so 42 lines. Yeah. And last one is 3 rows of data. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we've got those done, so we just need to output all of these files. For this, I've made a little folder called outputs just so I can keep track of things and if I need to check anything later. So let me think. How do I. Is this PD right? No. Is this just. How was it before with CSV? Read CSV. I thought it was PD dot right. No. Was it two, yes. Is it 2 CSV? Oh, come on. Oh, you always forget. Python pandas. Right. To CSV. Yeah, but I'm not a robot. It was okay. Okay, so you. So they have a data frame. Oh, A equals the data frame and 2 CSV. Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay, that's it. 2. So it needs to be put 1 done. 2. It's got CSV bracket. Okay, so similar to before, I need to do this. Okay, okay. I was hoping to copy a bit more than that. Okay, Python, and then outputs, and then I suppose give it a file name. PD 2023 week 01 output 1. Okay, so I've got an output there. Oh, oh yeah, so it's bringing in that index as well. So we'll want to say index equals false. Once again, let's have a look at this. Okay, yeah, that's coming through nice. Okay, so I just need to do that for the rest. All good for the Python part. So 2 and 3 and 2 and 3. Okay, give that a go. Yep, that's all our outputs. Nice. Okay. Let's get rid of some of the gaps. Get rid of that print. Packages. Okay, so there we go, we've done that pretty quick. So we've got Preppin Data week 1. So we imported the pandas library and NumPy library. We read our CSV file, so we saved that Google Drive data source. This one we saved it locally in a folder called unprepped data. So it's there. We then read that file as a data frame. We then started splitting the string so we could get that transaction code for that bank. We then used the NumPy where function to do an if else. Say if this equals 1, then call it online, otherwise call it in person. Then we worked on converting this from a string to a date. Then we used a bit of pandas to change it to the date name itself, so day of the week. Then we went out and then we started grouping this data together and summing that value column as well. So grouping by bank, removing that index, and then summing the column value, and then grouping by different levels. So having multiple things to group by meant we went for the bracket list approach. Okay, did the same for number 3, and then we output the data and then data prepped. Okay, so that is Python done. I'm going to jump now into R and do very much the same. So R, I've set that similar way before. So Python, we have the script up here and then the terminal below. R, we have the script over here and the terminal there. I just prefer it this way. Helps me remember what I'm doing. So we can get rid of this. If you do Control L, get rid of that. So we've got the print hello world. What we need to do is to start up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Preppin Data week 1, 3, week 1. That's the one thing about R is it always has this like spell check for the comments, which is really annoying because a lot of the times, yeah, it is meant to be misspelled. Okay, so I'm gonna load some libraries as well. So I'm always gonna have, so yeah, here you go, library dplyr. Honestly, I don't know who named this. I mean, it meant to be like pliers, but as I always spell it wrong. Honestly, the amount of times I've tried to spell it right and spelled it wrong. So this is the same concept as like loading pandas or importing pandas. Is you have you just use library bracket dplyr, which is the package. This does a lot of data manipulation in R. There are some other packages that are like groups of packages that do a lot, but I prefer just loading in what I need for the job and just going seeing how I get on with that. As before, I'm going to copy in the instructions and start from there. So input the data, output. Annoyingly in R, I don't think there's like a multi-line comment thing, but I mean, even in this case, we want to have them single lines because we'll need them later. Data. Okay, so import the data is gonna be, so I'm gonna do it again. So in R you have this like arrow key dash and then go read CSV. As you can see, read CSV is like a normal standard library object. Also, like with this with RStudio, you do get a lot of information, so similar to what you have with VS Code. As mentioned, script on one side, terminal on the other. Then you also have the files down here, which you can see into if I refresh this. Okay, yeah. So this has brought me my files that I'm using for this. So I can dive into here and see my data. So have that folder view. You can also see things like if you would plot a graph, it would come up here and see what packages you've got and things like this. Quite helpful, but I always keep it like there because I don't need it too much. But for now, do 2023. I'm gonna do, believe it's backslash. And data backslash. Okay, and what I do is I just rename them. I just cancel. And so, like with Python, you have other factors in here that you want to use. So this one is always, so it should come up by default, like strings. Strings. Oh, maybe it doesn't. God, maybe it doesn't anymore. I don't. What? Actually, yeah. I think in version 4 they stopped strings as factors being a thing. Um, I'll do head df. So head is like print. It shows you, but only shows you like the first 6 rows of this. I'm just gonna go Control Alt and then Control Enter and I'll run that script. Okay, yeah. So it's freaking out because of the. You see, it thinks like slash u is something special, but it's not in this case. Let's go with the double quotes. Okay. Okay, so we've got this coming through again. Oh. Okay, so you see something else that R does. So Python, we had those nice spaces between our columns. With R, it's kind of filled those with dots. It's always the pain of dealing with these data sets. So if you ever see someone give you a table where it's got a lot of underscores in it, that's probably why. I mean, we can still work with this as well. Okay, so I'm gonna make that column fall back. So what you can do with R is use the dollar sign. Yes, dollar sign and call bank, and then go and add in your function you want to do. So when I do df of transaction code, I wanted to split this string, so I think it's string. Let's get rid of this for a second. Let's try and get the auto string split. So split x, yeah. Okay, so this is it, yeah. This is a great function for us. So df dollar transaction code. So I'm splitting that thing based on that dash. Okay, go cut that, bring that in there, and I'm gonna go give it another run. Okay, yep, it's done the same thing where it's brought me back way more than I need. So if I do 1 here, does that work? No, no, it hasn't. Things we can also just execute this on its own and work out what it is. Okay, so that just brings back 1 column, 1 row. I mean, let's try. Nope, doesn't like that. Let's try that. Nope. Okay, was there any more in our split string? So, if I remember correctly, we can. I think it's question mark split string, and that will bring us up this little help menu here. Fixed use bytes. Oh. Oh, there's a lot. Okay. Right, Stack Overflow. Split string. Yes, I'm not a robot. Okay, that looks a bit more complicated than I want. Yes. Okay, Python answer. String return column. Hmm. Okay. Just gonna try something. See if I can. Oh wow, that does not that does not like that at all. What was it? Unlist with unlist help. Okay, oh, okay, so I get the list, but I get them like one after the other. Let's go for some other options. So, if I remember correctly, there's one string. Is it like string position? Okay, so of a character in a string. So I can use grep expression. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so they're using this string. Okay, let me give this one more chance. Okay, so I can get them out. So this is taking the first entry and then finding that. So I could. Okay, wants to find my pattern, which is that in my text, which is this. Turn the first. Oh, okay, let's go with this. So I know this works for this one. So what I can do is going to say, so for I in one, two, number of rows in the data frame. I want you to call this bank. Call this. Oh, cool. Okay, so we're gonna make a string called banks. Or make a list called banks. Let's call this a bank. So this is going to be for I in one to whatever. Find the first one, which will be that, and then do banks equals a list of banks. A bank. And then this two here. Alright, let's see how this goes. Yes. Okay, so what I've done here is because R's a bit funny with this sort of how the structure came out. So if you've got like a list like this, if ever looking at it, so you've got something like a list of different lists going on here, which is really annoying. So you have this is the first item on the list, which is a list of these three. So I want just this from each of the lists. There's probably an easier way to do this. So what I've done is just looped through the list and then pick the first one from each one. Doing that, what I've done is I've created another list called banks. In that, I've gone and then added in each iteration of the loop, we go and add in back to our list. We add banks, which is this, and then the bank that we found in this. Okay, so that a bit more convoluted than I wanted. Oh well, okay. We've got it done. So we can go on to this next one. So DF, in-person or online. Okay. So DF, dollar, in-person online. So this is going to be your, so it's going to be an if-else statement. So if this thing here is equal to 1, then call it online. Else in person. Okay. That'll run. Okay, so yeah, so that change has come through as well. DT bank. Okay, change the date to be the day of the week. Great. So let's have a look. If we do, so this is like structure, similar to what we were doing earlier with Python. It gives you a little information about your data frame structure, so we can see that it's coming through as these are coming through as characters as well. Okay, let's give it a go though. Let's try and say data frame transaction date and go as date. Let's see if we get away with that. Like you can see the issue going on here. So it nearly got there, but let's have a look. So yeah, so it's doing that is the year, then that is the that's oh, it's so annoying. So it's saying oh, the year is the year 20, and the month is 3, and the day is the 2000. Oh, it's so annoying. As date, so I think we can add in a format here. Format equals. Let's do this as it was day month. Let's go again. Nope, it don't like that. Uh, day, month. Let's do a slash between these. Let's see if that's okay. Okay. Right. R convert string to date. At. Yes, I'm not a robot. Okay, so I can just give it this. Okay, cool. Nope, that one's done. Right. Uh, hmm. Okay, let's try another format, see if that helps. Okay, okay. Forgive me why that one works and the other one didn't. Don't know, but that works. So we've got that. So we need to change our transaction date is now as date. What's the R day of week? Day of the week. Okay, so it's just weekdays. Nice. Nope. Weekdays. Okay, so that's coming through nicely. See that there. Okay, so we need to go back to the last bit. So change these outputs. Different levels require you need to 3 different ways. Total values of transaction by each bank. Okay, so I'll do the same again. So I'll do output 1 equals data frame dots. So what I need to do is it's this pipe. No, it's not that. It's that way. Pipe group by bank and summarize. I can't remember if we get away with just having the column names like this or whether it's gonna. Okay, yeah. Wait a second. Do sum of value. Yeah, so this is grouped it by this, but it hasn't really done the summing as you can see. So we've got 365 values come back. Okay, so let's try that again. Enter. Okay, that's nice. I call it value. Sum of value. Yeah. Okay, so that works. So I've got that. I'm gonna make it a little bit neater. So how they usually do it is jump them to another line by the pipe formula. So that's okay. Copy. So I'm gonna copy that. By bang, day of the week and transaction type. And that online or in person one. Okay, that's cool. Call that output 2. Yep, that looks good. That's 42 as well as we wanted. And lastly, let's do this customer code. Free. Okay. Okay. And that's coming back 33. Okay, so this is just working how we want it to. I'm just gonna now output each data file. So I'm gonna do, first of all, I'm gonna start renaming these columns so they're a bit nicer to look at than having the dots. Names, output 1. So the names of this data frame. Actually, this one's fine. that one's okay. So that was just banking values. So this one's a different problem. Output 2. So when you do this, you need to quote them individually. Okay, cool. Just check that that's working. So it's 7 Python in R will put these little quotes around it, which is fine. When we output it, should be okay. Bank and customer code. Okay, so I'm gonna output the file. So right.csv output output 1. Okay, and then I'm gonna put it. Okay, so I have an outputs folder. Okay, so I'm gonna do it in 2023 slash slash r slash slash the outputs, no, just outputs, and I'm gonna give it a name. I'm gonna call it PD 2023 output 1. Oh yeah, week 1. What do I call it for Python? Week 01, okay. Week 01, and then I'm also going to do row dot names equals false as f, because if you saw the Python, you don't want to have a list of numbers next to it, just doesn't help. Write that. Oh, I'll put one not found. Okay, but just run the entire script. Okay, that's good. So that's done. And oh, okay. It's just come through as a file, but I need to declare it as a CSV. I'm just going to put here data, just so I know. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to just go and delete this file. Yep, delete that one. I can have a look at this file. Yeah, this is doing what I want it to. So I'm just going to write the rest. Run all of that. Yep, all my data's come back. We checked it on the way through that it was coming out okay. So now I'm just going to clean up my code a little bit. I'm going to write a comment here declaring list of banks looping through string extract result. Okay. So what we were doing here was we followed up with using R as well. So we used deployer, our little library deployer, which we can. It's slightly different. We do install.packages deployer, read our CSV file to a data frame variable. We then ran into this one where we're having a bit of issue getting that first part out. So we did split string, but then we did this over a loop. It's not going to be the most efficient way. There's probably a better way of doing this, but we made a variable called banks as an empty list. This C double brackets is an empty list. Then what we did as every time we went down that data frame, every row, we went and split our string and then took the first variable from that, which is our bank code. We then assigned that to a variable called a bank, and then we updated our empty list banks with everything that was already in that list plus that new bank. So as it iterated through that list, we would slowly populate all those first values that we want, and then we assign that back to our data frame as a column. Here with the online or in person, we did the if else. So if this condition is true, again double equals for one, then call it online. Otherwise, call it in person. Next up, we had a bit of fun converting this to a date, getting the right format, making sure that worked. It took a couple of goes despite the format being okay. So we got that done for our transaction date. So we converted it from a string to a date, and then we converted the date to the weekday or day of the week in this case. So slightly different naming convention between different systems. Then we made our three different outputs. So we made our data frame. We used a pipe here to say that data frame should group by and then summarize on a particular value, and then do an aggregation, giving it that name as an output. Here we did the same, but we expanded the list of things we were grouping by. Same summarize. Then lastly, we were renaming the columns. So obviously we want to output it in the same format. We don't want these dots in between. So named at the end space. And then lastly, same thing for customer code. Do the same. Rename those columns too, and then outputted all this data to a CSV in that folder there. So those are all done. Then we names equals false. Okay, so 2 down, 1 to go. Okay, it's time for a little bit of SQL. So I've been using Snowflake for this. So what I've done is I've gone onto our Snowflake system, I've created a schema called Preppin Data Input, and I've gone and uploaded my CSV file, that input, into the table there. I can run the code here, I can see the data's come out as well. And also a nice thing about Snowflake, gives you this view as well over here about what data types they are coming through, this symbol as well as the actual thing. Again, we can see that the data is coming through as text value, so we're going to have fun fixing that as well. Okay, so I'm going to do as we do before. I'm going to make some comments to start with. So of course, Preppin Data 2023 week 1. I'm going to just make it a touch bigger. Yeah. Well, okay, that should be better. Okay, so slightly different using SQL. We don't have any packages to install. We just have to deal with the system as it is. So I'm working with this in the query. There'll be certain times where you won't have the functionality to do it, but we're going to see how we get on with this anyway. So this is going to be slightly different. I can't go through it step by step. It's going to have to be adjusting each of the columns as we go. Nevertheless, we're still gonna pull in this. So we've done the input data, but we can do this. Yeah. Okay, we will do that much. So do multi-line comments. So slash star slash. Put all these instructions in here. Get rid of that. Yep. Okay, this is gonna be. I'm sorry. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Otherwise, it's gonna be too hard to navigate. Identify these three processes. Change the number. Okay. Same thing again. So we need to first off split this string. So what I can do is I can keep the star, so I can keep the rest of this data. So if I was to say type transaction code, hit tab, that comes through. Click OK, and that should come through. So what I'm going to let's label the other one _2. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to split the string in this case. I'm going to find where that first occurrence is. So remember, it's char. Some little thing called char index back in the day. Yeah, char index. Oh, char index. Okay, I want this. I want this. I want to find this and start position. Don't think it's necessary. That. Run that. That's not helpful. Is it string? Oh. Maybe it's the other way around. That's always one thing to double check. Okay, yeah, it was. So, yeah, that wasn't too helpful. So it gives expression 1, expression 2, and you've got to guess which one is meant to be it. So, some of the annoying differences between these two. So I know that the first dash comes at position 4, which is cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little thing called left to take some characters off the string. So I can do that, and then I can do. So this will take the first 4 characters. Yeah. Okay, so I don't want the dash at the end, so if I do -1. Okay, that's cool. And So we wanted to rename the field as bank, so I'm going to give that the alias as bank. And that's okay, cool. So we've got bank. We've got bank, so that bit's done. Rename the values in online and person as 1, 0. Okay, so for this I can do a case expression. Case online or in person. When 1, then online. When 2, then in person. Int as online or in person. And comma. Give that a run. Okay, so that's coming back. Good. Change change the date to be the day of the week. Oh joy. Okay, so if I bring my transaction date, so if I go and company, I can take that as left. Take the left of that. 10. Transaction date. Come on. See what that looks like. Okay, so that's coming. It's still coming through as a string. Can I cheekily convert it to a date? So you can use this 2 semicolons and then date in Postgres or Snowflake in this case, or Postgres flavors of SQL to convert it to a date. So we can play. It's not recognized. Oh, damn. So what I can do is I can start thinking about, do I want to keep going with the string manipulation method? So I do that as 4. So I do that as 4. So that gets me the year. Now I need to start pasting things together because it will accept it if it's a date, if it's in that year, month, day format. So what I'm going to do is paste this together. So in SQL you need these, or Postgres you need these 2 vertical lines. You can't do like a plus symbol annoyingly. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do plus my dash. Let's see that work. Yeah, so that confirm that works. What I'm going to do next, just keep moving down this date. So I need to add, paste. So I want to do left of that 5, and then right of that 2. So in that case I'll take, in the first case I'll take those first 5 characters, and then right I'll take those last 2, so I get that month coming back. Okay, and just confirm that. Yeah, so now that month is coming through. And then we just need to do this again, so get the dash, and then we just need to do left of this too. Okay, so I've got my date as still as a string, but it's coming through. So I go and put a bracket all around this and go and change that to a date. Yeah. Okay, so now that's coming back as a date, which is good. Yeah, date time format. See that there. Nice. So we've got that as a date. So I just need to do the weekday of that. So I think it's date name. Does it not have date name in this? Oh, it's a date underscore part day or time part and then the expression. Okay, so if I do day like for day of the week, I think that works. Comma that, comma that. Let's drop this onto another line just so we can see it a bit easier. Okay, so that's uh, transaction date. SQL turn day of week. Yes, yes, I'm a human. Get days of the week in Postgres. Pop this one up as well. Yeah, so this is what I've done. So this returns 0 for Sunday. Okay. To char date. Okay, let's go with that. So I need to take this big horrible thing. Minus brackets. Oh, whoops. I've got to put that in there as that. Comma that. And run that. Uh, damn it. Okay, that's close. That is really close to what I need. Okay, so we can still make this work. So I just need to do that dash dash day on the end and call that as as transaction date. Okay, so I can let's comment this one out. Oops. Okay, so now that's coming back. Yay! So okay, transaction date's coming through now. That was a pain. This is why I like always want to try and get these data types working correctly. Always pain. So we've done this bit. Change to day of the week. Now we just got to go and output our desired answers for this. So what I'm going to do is just take this table and just return all the data stuff I need for this. So if I call value, I'm always getting this like auto solution thing wrong. Customer code as well. I think that's so I need bank, I need online in person, day of the week, customer code and value. Okay, so those will come back. Right, so I need 3 different outputs. So what I'm going to do is make 3 different queries in this. I'm going to call this say put 1. I'm going to put this up here is this for now. That's just so I can refer back to it. So I'm going to reduce the columns down just to get these values back. So I want to do bank and by value. I get rid of these these values here, and then do some of value, and then so what I'm doing here is I'm doing this aggregation to sum by value because I'm doing this. SQL will need to know what's going to happen with this column here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a group by. I'm just going to bring in that as a group by. Now you can do like group by one. It's a little bit lazy. It just means it's a lot harder to read for someone else coming in. So let's come back. Let's come back with my three rows as expected, which is great. I'm going to go and put a semicolon there just so that is saved as a query. Let's go and do output 2. Put 2. So this one wanted basically everything. Day of the week and type of transaction. So one bank, one this one, day of the week, and yeah. So I'm going to do the same again and sum my value as value. In this case, I will do the group by. Group by again. You can see it. I'll show it to you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 in this case. So I'm going to highlight this bit and yeah, that can't. Oh, oh, damn it. Damn it. my plan has failed for day. So I was so in doing this, what I was trying to do was make sure that things like I didn't have to do the case statement to try and get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday come back perfectly. But it looks like I might have to. But this is a pain. I'm gonna say because this looks great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a common table expression just to go and put all the code up here. I could do it down here, but it's going to be a mess with CTE. So common table expressions basically, I'm going to run a query beforehand and then I can reference that query later on in my code. So you'll see it here. So if I go and pull this down into here, so this code is like complicated enough, basically to say. So this is my CTE. What I can do here is now get rid of that, get rid of online in person, reduce transaction date. So transaction date, I don't really want the day part on the end. Okay, transaction date, and we'll just bring in value for now. We'll sum it in a bit in a second. We're not pulling from that table anymore. We're going to pull from my CTE. We're not grouping either. So let's run this. Okay. Okay, so what I just need to do now is do case transaction date when for then Thursday when we should try and do this as some sort of order. Shoot. Tuesday. Thursday, Friday will be. So what I'm trying to do is at the end have this else statement that says else do the thing plus the day. So Monday, Friday, it's Saturday I need to do next. Sunday should be fine. Saturday, else do transaction date day. No, not capital. And end as transaction date. comma. Okay, let's run that. Yeah, so okay, so yep, this is coming back. This looks much better. Okay, so I'm gonna go and sum transaction value. No, I don't want to bring that up. Sum that. I'm gonna do group by 1, 2, 2, and this horrible thing. Note that one thing is you can't put aliases in the group by, so I can't. I'm being careful to avoid this. Otherwise, SQL will complain. Okay, so that should all come back nicely. Yeah, okay, so and for you can't see it here because my face is in the way. Uh, let's go up for a second. So yeah, you can see it down here. 42 rows has come back. Uh, okay, back to it. Okay, last one. Let's finish this up. So this one wants by bank and customer code. Okay, piece of cake. So if I take this one and go, I put free by bank and then by customer code, comma, and then go, comma, customer code, done. And give that a run. Yeah. Okay, and again, that's coming back with 33. You can just see about there. Okay. Okay, cool. So, okay, this is SQL. It's done and dusted. So we were able to split this transaction code. We use this char index here to find where that first dash is in our transaction code. Then we use that position to do left calculations to find, okay, just take all the letters, all the characters before that dash, and that got us our bank code. We went and then used the case expression for this section here, this person online, not online, using case when one, then this. Then we went and, well, we also gave this bank code the alias using as bank to give it an alias. Then we had a lot of pain and suffering with converting this date into this string into a date. So we had to get into a year dash month dash day format. Before it was day month year plus some plus a timestamp on the end. So what we've done here is we've done a lot of left right calculations and added in those dashes. We then converted that to a date. We then took that date and then turned that into using this function to char to character, I'm guessing, and then by as in date to then make that the day. Note that we did have some issues that it only brings back the first 3 letters of the day. So later on, we then use the case expression to say, okay, if it's this value, then this value, then do this, which is here. So if it's Tuesday, then call it Tuesday. Try to make this more simpler by having this condition here, else to capture all the ones for day. You can do that as well. Bear in mind that you can also do date part, where you can find the actual day of the week, but that will be a numerical value coming back as 0 for Sunday, etc. That after that pain, we then start doing our outputs. So in these cases, able to write these individual queries. So select, taking that calculation. Then important part is to sum that value, and then because we're doing some aggregation, we need to specify what this column is meant to be doing. Is it meant to be aggregated in some way? But we need to keep it in the group by, so we want to sum this value by this bank code in this case. Noting again that we can't put as bank in this group by statement, otherwise SQL will freak out. Like, what are you doing? Okay, output two, just for simplicity, we used something called a common table expression. So with CTE here, we'll let you write a query and then you can reference it later. So doing this, I wrote down all the code that we had to use to work out these different functions. So the bank, the online person, but most importantly was the date, converting that to a date and then day of the week. From that, I then able to make a nicer looking query using this. So select bank online person from that CTE there, and then I added in my case statement here for this. I can make this a bit nicer to look at as well by just having a little indentation there, so I know when the case starts and ends a bit easier compared to other parts in the query. I could do the same here too. Okay, again, summing that value, but grouping by those individual elements here as well. Again, avoiding putting aliases in here because that will SQL won't like that because you shouldn't alias something you're trying to group by. And then at the end, going with the semicolon to specify our next query. After that, we're doing the select from transaction code. Again, just customer code, so not too different from the first output. Again, summing value, grouping by those two columns, and then ending that like that. I'm going to leave that there. We're not going to, I don't want to chew up a load of space on the server. I know, so I'm not going to write tables for all of these. In this case, I'm just going to have the query done like this. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go and copy this, and I'm going to go and put it into VS Code. I'm going to go under SQL. I'm going to go File, New File, and call it SQL. No. I'm going to call it, what have I called the others? Okay, 2023, let's go week 1.SQL, and I'm going to paste that in there. Okay, I'm going to save that. So there you go. This prepping data challenge completed three different ways, three different coding languages, different slight variations between all of them. All pretty good. All pretty good ways of getting the job done in this case. All going to have a bit of trouble converting this date to something else. Sometimes you can get away okay, other times you'll need to be a bit more specific, but all in all, not too bad. Highly recommend these challenges if you're getting into programming or trying to pick up more programming skills or just get some practice again, like me. Other than that, I will be uploading this code over to GitHub. So I have a GitHub repository where I've been keeping different prepping data solutions, mostly 2021, but 2023 I will be adding these ones up there for you to have a look at as well. Oh, and before we go, let's have a look. Let's have a look of chat. ChatGPT can do this. Um, so if I was say having trouble with this, so split. So uh, so I could go in here, say let's up the size a little bit. In so in Python, how do I split a split text on a dash? It's very good. It's very good. Okay. Uh, let's see. Let's see if I can fix the one I was having trouble with in R. In R, how do I split a string column from a, how do I split a string column in my data frame? Okay, so I only turn, yeah, so you split string, you can then, okay, oh, so add, huh, oh, separate, ah, hmm, okay, nice. So we haven't been using like tidyr because this is quite a big package, but we can have a look. Do I even have separate in here? Uh, let's see. So the way you can have a look, so if you do deploy, then you see, yeah, there's two semicolons and set. Now it is tidyr. Right. I can load library tidyr. Separate. Okay. So I want to separate transaction code. What's it saying? Get text into into bank. I just want the first one. And then separator equals dash. Let's quickly try this. So I've got my data frame. Check my data frame here. Okay, that's my data frame. Try this. Oops. Shift enter. Hmm. No applicable method for separate object kind of cast lock. Oh, I've written it wrong. That's probably why. So if I df and then pipe control enter. Hmm. In R, how do I use this separator? Yep. Oh, so you know that you've already answered this question in a different way. Very clever. Okay, we'll give this one more go. So we'll go as col equals transaction code. That one. Um, okay, then. Hey, it worked. It actually worked. Okay, that's cool. Call this DF. Change this to bank. This is nice. So it's like a no. Means we don't have to write a loop anymore. Uh, yeah, so get rid of that for now. Yeah, and get rid of that. Okay, so we made that a bit neater. So we've got rid of our loop. We use separate. Well, from ChatGPT to help us out. So we now got separate. So we're taking that transaction column and breaking it into one column called bank. And oh, we didn't even say what we were separating it on. Okay, so this should all still work. So yeah, so those all look the same as before. Okay, cool. So yeah, definitely use this as if you're ever like really struggling and you couldn't get the answer from Stack Overflow. Have a look at ChatGPT because this is yeah very good. So I knew about split text and with split string, uh, but I knew there must be a better way to do this rather than having to write a loop or do this apply across many different things. So here we go. This was the answer here. So do you have a look at that? I will be uploading these solutions to my GitHub account shortly. And other than that, I wish you all the best in tackling these challenges in the future and developing your skills with data preparation. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.